Draft Day tells the fictional story of the Cleveland Browns general manager and all of what he has to face and all of what he has to do on the extremely prestigious day of the NFL draft. The film takes a close look at a lot of what happens behind the scenes on such a day and a lot of the communication that occurs between the various teams that are part of the NFL, of course, and also a bit of an insight into the main character and into some of his family problems as well. Then again, the story is fictional, so I felt that there was a lot more they could have done with it as compared to a true story. But unfortunately, unless you're a big fan of the NFL, Draft Day is likely to not impress. The film definitely takes its time before it really starts getting a little more exciting and a little more interesting, and the drama certainly eases in. But at the same time, if you're not familiar with the NFL and if you're not a big fan of the NFL in general, a lot of the jargon, a lot of what they're talking about might not seem as interesting to you, although they don't overcomplicate it beyond an extent. Even if you're not such a fan, you will be able to follow everything that's happening in the film. I just don't believe that there's much of an incentive to really watch it, simply because they're randomly stated facts that are presented to you throughout the film about certain players, and the perspective that they look at certain players with was also interesting to a certain extent. There are moments where they go beyond just the NFL, and you can actually view it from a genuine sport lover's perspective, but there are times where they present a lot of random facts to you that only someone who's really into the NFL and really understands enough about American football would actually understand and enjoy. And while you're definitely along this journey of Sonny Weaver Jr. portrayed by Kevin Costner, who does a great job in the film, of course, there is a bit of an imbalance when it comes to the genuine telling of the story. A lot of times they focus on the draft picks and everything, and then suddenly they take this shift to things about his family, and really, it's not that well connected, and it doesn't entirely work cohesively. Rather, a lot of his family stuff is brought up for two reasons. One, almost as a way of portraying his state of mind, which is when it was certainly well executed, but at the same time, in a contrast to that, it's brought up merely to fill the gaps between various scenes in the film, and I thought that they could have definitely used the family bit to make the film far more cohesive. Now, I can't discredit the film for anything. There's nothing that the film does horribly wrong, but the problem is, the film merely possesses a physical existence, and there's no real emotional tethering to actually raise the film to a certainly higher level of quality. It presents itself, it does so without doing anything wrong, but really, never does it surprise you or excite you. One thing I really liked, though, was the perception of the upcoming players and how even the most minor things in their life impact whether or not they would be selected for a particular team, and all of these little tidbits here and there add to that kind of behind-the-scenes drama that I actually kind of enjoyed, and kind of gives you a peek behind the curtain. And when you get to these more interesting aspects of the game, it's definitely fun to watch, but at the same time, there's not all that much of it. At the end of the day, though, Draft Day is enjoyable to a certain extent. It doesn't have all that much to offer, and it never raises the bar, as it has the potential to do so, considering the fact that it's not constrained within the bounds of any kind of true story. Rather, it's a piece of fiction that had the potential to be so much more, but never actually felt like exhausting such potential. I'm going to give Draft Day a no.